Hello, audio fans and music listeners. My name is Gavin, and I'm your friendly neighborhood host here at the Audiophile Wannabe Show. Hope you are doing very well, and welcome back today. Wanted to tell you guys briefly about something that happened today that was a very strange occurrence, especially considering the video that I made yesterday, which was our fourth episode in the Maximizing Your Sound System's Potential series, and we talked about signal path improvement. Well, it just happened to be that when I got going today and wanted to do some critical listening, guess what happened? So I was in the main listening room, cranked up the system, got it going, and wouldn't you guess that I had a very loud, irritating buzz coming from the left channel. Just very fitting considering yesterday's video. So basically just wanted to tell you guys about what I learned and experienced today and wanted to share that. So if you're familiar with the channel, you're most likely familiar with my main system. This is it right here. The Primaluna preamp on top and the Cambridge components on the bottom. The AXR100 CXC transport and the CXC100 on the bottom. And last but not least, the component that makes the whole thing sounds even better, which is the custom built farmhouse style audio rack by Mr. Gary Papa G. So the first thing to do when trying to get a buzz like this out of your system, I kind of felt like it wasn't going to be something that the ferrite magnets would tackle, seeing as those are already in place and some really good cables. So the first thing I did was to swap the speakers around to see if it may be in the speakers, and swap them around, and sure enough, the concern followed that left channel. So then the next thing to do was to look at components and connections in the system. So I took off the top of the system so that I could access the cables more easily to unplug, replug, that sort of thing. Set the Primaluna on the right and all the Cambridge components on the left. The preamp felt like the first thing to take out of the equation and unplug that from the system, and sure enough, the buzz went away. So I knew that the concern followed the left channel into the Primaluna preamp. But one thing I will say that I learned at this point, and I love my Cambridge components, as you guys well know, but man, I love that Primaluna preamp, because taking that out of the equation really made me understand, or just reminded me, how much that preamp makes that AXR100 sing. That preamplifier does a phenomenal job. So the next thing that I did was to think, well, maybe it's got something to do with the tubes, or at least I hoped it was the tubes, and not something internally to the preamp, especially since it's fairly new, just a few months old. So I did the, how would you call it, the push, jiggle, pull, jiggle, push, maybe another jiggle on top of that technique to test the the secure connection of the tubes to the preamplifier. Did that with all the tubes, and then I should have turned the preamp back on and plugged it into the system to see what it would have done at that point. That would have told me whether or not it was just a loose connection in the tube. However, instead of turning the preamp on and plugging it back into the system at that point, plugging it back in and then turning it on in that order would be better. But I went ahead and swapped the back 12AU7 tubes, thinking that since the concern seemed to follow the left channel, if I swapped out those tubes one at a time, maybe I could discern which tube it might be if it was tube related. However, I did the push, jiggle, pull, the jiggling technique with the pulls and pushes, and swapped these two tubes, got it plugged back into the system, turned on, and the buzz went away. So because the buzz went away, that tells me that it's not one of the tubes. Fortunately, it was something in the connection of one of those tubes to the sockets, and haven't really done anything. You can tell the front two tubes are different than the other Primaluna 12AU7s. Those are GE military spec tubes. Got those from Upscale Audio. They were recommended there, and they do a fine job in the preamp. But the other ones were the Primaluna tubes that came in with the preamp, but they all sound fine. The buzz went away, so I was very happy for that. So in summary, in doing my root cause analysis there, I think it was pretty easy to see how you just swap components until you get to the issue where the concern follows. But in trying to understand how this happened after doing a video yesterday on signal path improvement, my only conclusion, and since most of you are near the same age demographic as myself, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the old Bugs Bunny cartoon. So if you remember the Bugs cartoon where he's in that military plane bomber or something that looks like from World War II, and there's that little gremlin that's trying to sabotage everything he's doing on that plane. The only logical conclusion that I came up with to figure out how this happened overnight was maybe that little gremlin got in here and tried to mess with my system. So that sounds like the only logical, reasonable conclusion. So short story today, but it was really fun trying to root cause the system. Thought y'all might get a kick out of that. And if you've watched this far and like the content, hope you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as that will certainly help the channel to grow. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. No, wait, maybe that really wasn't the gremlin. Maybe it was something else. Not really sure what the actual root cause was. But anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.